Okay, well, let's get started, everyone. I was hoping, like I said, this room would get packed up, but 5 o'clock on the first day of DEMA, it is what it is. So I do want to thank you all for taking the time. I know that there are a lot of presentations out there, and you have many different choices to make. So thanks for coming over here and spending the next half hour with me. I've already been asked twice in the last 15 minutes, what's this presentation about? What is the purpose of this presentation? We have more people coming in. Join us, I just got started. Yeah. But as a punishment, you have to come up front. Sure. I really feel like taking my shoes off. New shoes, don't ever do that at a show. Well, that's right. That's right, that's right. So I got asked the question, you know, what's the purpose of this presentation? And when I'm on the road, I go into dive stores and I ask them what are their challenges, you know, what's going on? What do you need to do better and how can we help? And sometimes the answer is as simple as, I just need you to come and talk to them and tell them, you know, help with the sales, help with being more motivated, you know, that affection usually kind of bounces off. So we decided to just do a presentation on it, and hopefully you do get some value out of it. Hopefully there'll be some tips and pointers that you can bring back and share with your instructors, with the people that work at your store. What we want to do is we want to make sure that instructors are not just instructors. They're not just people that go out there, teach a class, and then at the end of the day, that's it. They don't do anything else. So let's start with the very basics. Everyone has a different perception of what an instructor is, right? What your mom thinks it is, what society thinks it is, what your friends think it is. What is an instructor? What's an instructor?
Like a mentor.
Like a mentor, okay.
Well, educating. The way I put it is any instructor can substitute the word instructor, be it golf, student,
yep.
Fitness, with the word salesman.
Salesman, okay, I like that. Now, so for those of you that don't know what I do with a company, I'm the vice president of sales, so I do kind of appreciate that a little bit. What's an instructor for you guys? You can share the answer. It's okay.
Representative of the organization,
okay.
And multiple capacities of salesperson.
Yeah. Sure.
A technical person to get advice.
So, and not just a representative of your store, but of the industry, right? Right, they're the ones going out trying to collect new divers and getting involved, right? So what's the role? You know, that's what we want to talk about. What are the different roles that an instructor has? And we're going to start with the actual most basic role. And the most basic role is be an educator. So you hear a lot of people saying an instructor is an instructor. And Paul Montgomery just wrote a really great article about 2-3 weeks ago. It came out in our last members update. I don't know if you have had a chance to read it, but the article is called Don't Be an Instructor, Be an Educator. Okay? So you're not just teaching them skills, you're educating them in the whole lifestyle that is scuba diving. And there's going to be different phases. The first phase that we find is going to be obviously with the new divers. This is so important that your instructors that are teaching these new divers have a certain type of excitement to them. Because if they don't have that excitement, that student feels like he's just going to go through the motions, he's going to buy some equipment, he's going to take an open water class, and guess what? You probably won't see him again. Especially if you're teaching in a place where you have to do your open water dives in a quarry. That is really rough to sell scuba diving. You got all these awesome pictures on your wall. It's like, well, where are we going to go diving? We're going to go down to a quarry. Anyone here deal with that? Okay? You deal with that? You deal with that? Your instructors have to be like, this is some really cool stuff that we're going to see. And you know the place is crap. I mean, it is not exciting at all, right? But you've got to get them excited about what they are going to see and how awesome it is. And if those instructors are not doing that, you need to have a word with them because they're not doing their job. Okay? Whoops. Thank you. Thank you all. You know, I hope you guys learned something from that. I'll be back tomorrow for another 3-minute presentation. So advanced divers, right? You finally gotten them to commit to take the next class. And there's a whole different array of what you can do with advanced divers. We just did this webinar on how to sell Con Ed. So I'm not going to get too much into it. But advanced divers is really a huge component of your income, okay? You've already gone through that whole trust phase, right? Now if you say, hey, look, you know, we've got another class that's in photography, they're gonna trust you because they already had a really awesome experience in open water. So it's your job as an instructor to keep that motivation going without appearing to be a salesperson. You're sharing that excitement, they're feeding off of it, and now you're taking them to the next levels. So you can't just let that die with open water and then hope things are going to come back. Advanced divers is the most critical because this is where you really capture them, and this is where you get them to come back and do the second order, the third order, the fourth order, to start going on trips with you if you offer trips. So an instructor's job is to try to keep those advanced divers excited and try to take more classes because then they're going to buy more gear. And now they're going to be customers that are loyal to you, right? And if they're loyal to you, they'll probably be loyal to the brand of scuba diving. We did a presentation also on Be the Difference for instructor trainers. Anyone here a course director or an instructor trainer or anyone at that level? Okay, one of them. So this is key too, okay? Because now what you're doing is you're starting to make people professionals. And you're putting these people in positions where they're now representing the industry, okay? If you're in IT, you're creating instructors. So one of the things that I hear a lot is, man, you know, I go onto this boat and the divers, they're not the same. You know, they're not as good, they're not as well taught. And it doesn't matter what the organization is, okay? It can be any organization, that's all up to the instructor, not the letters behind it. We see it though. And you can't really fault those divers though, can you? Is it their fault? Who their instructor was the problem. So if you want to become an instructor trainer, like I said, we have this campaign called Be the Difference, where you can actually form these instructors to teach that type of philosophy. Don't undercut sales. You know, don't sell those 99 scuba diver courses. You can do that as an instructor trainer. But if you don't have that rating and you're just bringing people up into the dive master and to assistant instructor levels, you can start there. Don't sell yourself short. Represent us as the organization. Mark gave a really great presentation right before this one about, you know, appearances. You know, do you want to look like the person that's teaching a yoga class, all healthy and fit? Or do you want to look like the guy that is just in his last years in the Bahamas and all he wants to do at the end of the day is drink out of a coconut with a slab of fruit on there and chasing his own students around? It's your job to mentor these professional divers into becoming professionals, right? So that's really it on education. But the big one here is sales. Now what's the biggest issue with sales? Everybody hates it, okay? I mean, there's a reason why 81% of people do sales online or research online before they even go into a store. Why? They don't want to be sold. So everyone's like, oh, you know, the economy's horrible, no one wants to buy something. No, people do want to buy, but people don't want to be sold, right? So they do their research. You know, they go online, they check the facts, they check the products that they want to go into. When they walk into a store, they're now an informed consumer. They don't want you to sell me other stuff. I don't want to hear about that. I saw this, tell me about it. You know, I really like this. How much is it? You know, what kind of deals can we get? Well, let's talk about this. I don't want to hear about the other stuff. Okay? The problem with sales, and this is the biggest obstacle that a lot of instructors have, is they don't want to be this guy. Okay? Sales get a really bad rap as being a bully. How often have you gone into a store, you've walked out of that store, and you got the bag of stuff that you bought, right? And you sit in your car and you open that bag and you're like, I didn't really want to buy this. You know, you have that really negative outlook on that used car salesperson. Someone who really just wants their commission, they don't care what they sell you. They just want to sell you that thing, right? So that's a really big obstacle for instructors that are coming into the fray, and the store owner or the manager is saying, look, you need to do sales. You need to sell equipment. You need to sell continuing education. So what are we selling? Are we selling that thing? Are we selling a regulator? Are we selling a deep diver class? We're se-
Yeah.
That's what we're selling, right? We're selling fun. You guys just pretty much said here, lifestyle, adventure, and escape. If your instructors can just get it out of their heads that they're not selling a thing, they're selling a vehicle for those divers to get to where they want to be, it'll be a lot easier for them to sell. In the presentation that we did about selling continuing education, we talked about how some instructors could just use stories. You know, I dove this wreck, and it was a really awesome time. Let me show you some pictures. Sometimes that's enough for someone to say, how do you do that? Well, you have to be properly trained. In order to be properly trained, you should take a rec class. If you don't have a deep class, you can do this. But I can do this for you if it's really interesting for you. Okay? So one of the things that Apple did really, really well about, I think it was 10 years ago, was they changed the whole way that they started selling. Okay? And they really reached out to the consumer, and they talked to the consumer. And if you look at a phone, may I borrow your phone, please?
Sure.
Okay, let's take a selfie real quick. If you look at a phone and you stick it up and you say, there's 24 gigs on this phone, I'm going to be like, it's fantastic. What does that mean? I have no idea what that means, right? So what Apple did was they went out and they said, 10,000 songs in your pocket. What? That's awesome. I can put this in my pocket. I fly, to LAX from Stuart, Florida. I can hear my whole Beatles collection. That speaks to me, right? That really talks to me. We actually did do a webinar called Selling the Benefits Over Features, and you can download it online. So I don't want to spend too much on this, but this is probably the most encouraging way to get your instructors to stop selling that thing and actually sell the benefit behind it, right? So people don't want to buy a photography course. They don't. What they want to do is they want to have the ability to take awesome pictures and post them on social media and share it with all their friends so they can see how many likes they get, right? That's really what they want. They don't want to buy a photography course. People don't want to buy a regulator that has all these features that I don't even know what they mean. Well, let's face it, I don't know what they mean. They want to buy a regulator that's going to, did my mic just go off? No. They want to buy a regulator that's going to breathe nice and smoothly. So if they're going down to 100 feet, they're not going to have issues, right? So the whole idea behind selling is not the thing. It's not the price. It's what's it going to do for them. When I buy something, what's this going to do for me? How is this going to improve my life? You can apply that to anything. You can apply that to travel, apply that to equipment sales, apply it to courses. I love history. History is so awesome to me. Great. There's some really great recs off the coast of Florida. Take a rec class. I'll show you some of that stuff firsthand. Okay? So keep in mind, all these things are really just a vehicle for them to get to that ultimate goal. And we heard this, a role model. How can you be a role model in scuba diving? Anyone who hasn't spoken yet? What's a role model in scuba diving? Put you on the spot, didn't I? The new guy just joined us. Okay, good, excellent. As a role model, you are going to be a mentor, right? People are going to look up to you. So beyond just being the person that shows enthusiasm, beyond just being the person that sells the benefits over why you bought that thing and reassure them that that was money well spent, be someone that's inspiring. You know, this industry unfortunately has a lot of ego, right? A lot of ego in this industry. And it can be a huge turnoff. You know, if you go ask someone a question because they have all that experience, because they have all these different ratings with all these different organizations, sometimes that response can be a little bit turn-offish. And you know what that person's reaction will be? I don't want to be a part of this. I don't want to be a part where I ask someone who has all these ratings, he's all over social media, and I ask him questions and I want to have a conversation with him and say, hey, what do you think about this? And I get treated in a condescending way. So be a thought leader. Be someone that answers questions. Be someone that identifies issues and has solutions. And how can you do this? Listen. Where do you listen? Where do you listen to these complaints? Where are they usually? Online? Okay. Classroom, pool. So we talked about sales, right? And recently I took this class, well, recently, a few years ago, I took this class. I love to talk. And one of the things which I struggled with the most in sales is the best salesperson is the one that listens. Okay? The same is as a role model. Listen to what the issues are that someone has and what their obstacles are. Sometimes people don't want to tell you that they are frightened, terrified to death to clear their mask because they think that you're so awesome as an instructor. You've done all these great things. And I kind of feel, a little humbled around this, and I don't want you to think any less of me because I really want to dive because you've inspired me to do that. Be the go-to person. When someone asks for a question, don't make it a sales pitch. Give them an honest answer. Tell them this is what we can do. People, like I said, people don't want to be sold. They want to be inspired. They want their life to be better. Okay? So one of the easiest ways, and you said it was go on social media. You see a lot of influencers now. You see the tags at DEMA. There's a lot of influencers. So this is basically a term taken from content marketing. It's something that's been going on for the last few years, which the scuba diving industry has just been catching up to. But go on social media. This is the perfect platform for you to engage with people. And if you're on social media, what you want to make sure is that you show the love. Okay, when people are liking your stuff, when people are commenting on your posts, acknowledge them. Say thank you, that's great. Or hey, I'm going to be there next summer. That's really cool. Let me recommend this restaurant for you to go to. Okay, it's not a one-way street. Now, there's so many different social media platforms right now, and people are thinking, well, which social media platform do I need to join because I got to be on all of them. You don't. Pick two. Pick two and really focus on them. Facebook's a great one. You can use Twitter, you can use Instagram, but pick two and do really well. And when you pick those, make sure that you don't just have the 18-year-old kid that's in your store as a dive master intern, and because he's got a Snapchat account, you make him in charge of social media because you're not going to get your return on investment if you do that. You have to have someone who understands social media. Okay? Otherwise, that engagement and being a role model and having the ability to communicate with people, it's not really going to be worth it. Okay? And as I said, engage back and forth. If they're showing you the love, you need to do the same. Go on their post. If you see someone that's really liking your stuff a lot, go back on their posts and like their stuff, comment on their stuff, say, hey, that's great. That's fantastic. I saw the pictures from your trip. Okay? But it's real important for instructors to start taking that role a little more often. Because one of the things that everyone complains about is, well, as an organization, we're really great at marketing within ourselves, right? But we're really poor about marketing outside of the scuba diving industry. How many people hear this? No one? Just me? You're nodding, okay? Have you heard this? Have you heard this as being a concern that we are absolutely fantastic about telling everyone in the industry how great we are, but we're horrible at reaching out to those people that are not in the industry? This is a really good way to do that because what you have is you have your instructors have a nice following on social media and it's reaching out to all these other people outside. So I gave you an example. One of our largest accounts, I'm going to start back a little bit. About 8 years ago, well, who's using social media for business right now? Everyone, I hope. Everyone. Okay, good. So about 8 years ago, I went to one of our really large accounts in Mexico. I'm going to backtrack. I don't have any kids. I have a dog. Okay? All right? Miss Chelsea, she was about 6, 7 months old, right? And my wife and I, we had to take her to a hotel for dogs because we were traveling. Okay? And Facebook was just kind of starting up a little bit. And we knew the owners, catching up with them, blah, 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 how's everything going, how's the family? And the dog was just ready to go in there and play with the other dogs and have a great time. I was like, I don't care, this is awesome. Look, I can do a lot of sniffing here, right? It's going to be fun. But the owners of the hotel for dogs, they saw us. And they saw that we were getting this separation anxiety. And like, you guys need to leave. She'll be okay. like us on Facebook. You guys have Facebook, right? I'm like, yeah, of course, who doesn't? Like us on Facebook, and every day we'll put a picture up. A picture of your dog. I was like, that's awesome. Okay, let's go. And every day, you know, what we do is we grab our phones. You know, is there a picture up already? Is there a picture up already? And the pictures were horrible. I mean, the dog's moving so fast, it's all blurry, the head's, you know, facing in the wrong direction. Butt shots, a lot of butt shots, right? Running away from the camera, or they're running so close to the camera that you can't see. But it didn't matter, right? What did we do? We shared it, because all my friends have to see this horrible picture of my dog. That's not even with me. You know, we shared it. Yeah, let's share this horrible, crappy picture. And what this company did was they actually put their contact information on that page. So I'm sharing with all my friends, and look at our dog, she's doing so well. And I'm promoting that company this way, right? So 6 months later, I go down to Mexico and I talk to a dealer and I talk to an accountant and I say, look, are you guys on Facebook? Yeah, but we're not really sure how to use it well, and you know, blah, blah, blah. And I said, you have to do this. And I told them the same story I just told you. You have to do this. Like, okay, all right, great. We're gonna do something with it and see how that helps. So I come back 6 months later and I say, so how's everything going? How are things? They're like, yeah, things are fantastic. And I'm like, how's the Facebook going? And they're like, well, you know, not so good. And we even hired a photographer to, you know, help us with it. And it's just not gonna, let me see what you're doing. Maybe I can help you figure it out. So this is what they're doing, okay? Now this is an operation that does about 100 scuba discoveries a day. They have parasailing, jet skiing, all that stuff. It's a lot of fun. And what they did was they'd send everyone out at, you know, 6, 7 in the morning to go do all these awesome activities. And then as they'd come back in, one by one, they'd line them up against the wall with a big dive flag and their logo up there, and they'd take a mugshot of them. Their hair is all over the place. They threw up, you know, because they got a little seasick. They've got the ring of their masks around their eyes. And I'm like, who wants to share that? No one's going to share that because, hey, look at me having fun in Mexico. Yeah. They all looked horrible. They all looked like they were ready to pass out, dehydrated. You know, they just wanted to go take their siesta. So make sure you know how you are engaging. Make sure you know how you are properly using social media. But it is a very powerful tool to reach out outside that dive industry. Make your instructors use it appropriately. Give it value. Their posts can be crappy posts. People are not going to want to see that. They're not going to want to like it and share it. But make sure that they use this outlet to reach outside that dive industry. If you have your instructors that are teaching courses, have them take the time and just take a few good pictures on the side. Post it. But really important, acknowledge and engage. Without engagement, post does nothing. Thank them. Hey, thanks for the class. Tag people. Make it about them. Right? You do these things and you're going to see your instructors are actually going to be selling for you, because people are like, I want to do that. Oh, look what Katrin, I want to make sure I get it right. Look what Katrin did. I want to go and do that. That looks like so much fun, right? So essentially, in a nutshell, an educator, make sure that they show that type of drive and motivation that gets people to want to continue that education. Because if they're not doing that, and they can be awesome instructors. They can be fantastic instructors. They know their stuff. But if they're like, hey, you know what, we're going to go on a dive today. I'm going to show you some really great skills, and you're going to come out as a really good diver. If that's the level of motivation that I'm showing, she's like, I'm not having fun here. I don't really want to do this. But if you come and say, look, you know what, the place is kind of crappy, but it's going to be so much fun. We're going to see some really cool stuff that you can't see anywhere else. Let's do it. And then after that, you know, we can talk about what you want to do next. You know, there's got to be some kind of level of motivation there. That really feeds off. Sales. Got to be the salesman or saleswoman, okay? Don't think that it has a negative connotation if you do selling right. And like I said, you have that whole presentation in How to Sell Content. It talks a lot about this. It's available for free on our website. You can download it and show it to your staff. But it's really important that you don't think of yourself, or your instructors don't think of themselves as salespeople. They can find many ways to sell continuing education or sell equipment. They can do it by just talking about it. That's not really a sales pitch. As long as they don't feel like, oh man, I'm getting bullied. They don't want that. But hey, wow, I really like that computer. It can do all these different things. Yeah, let me tell you about it. Yeah. But they have to sell. If they're not selling, they're bringing very little to the table. Because those people are going to take that class, buy the cheapest probably, and walk out. Because not only are they selling those things that we talked about, they have to sell the whole package, which is the lifestyle, the fun, the adventure. Okay? And then engage. Be a role model, be a thought leader, be an influencer. You know, reach out to those people outside. You see that a lot on Facebook now, right? You see a lot of people that you might not have known them before, but they just have really good posts with really great articles, really good content that's of value, that's not a sales pitch. And you're like, well, I want to see what this guy's doing. I want to follow them. I want to friend them. Because you want to see more of that, because it inspires you, right? So those are just really 3 small points of what an instructor can do to bring more to the table than just their C card. So hopefully that was of value. If you guys do these points, you will have people being gravitated towards you and wanting to do more with you. It will happen naturally. All right? So thank you for your time. Are there any questions? Nope. Was it good? Worth it? All right. Thank you all very much.